Hi, Ballerinaboy1. I apologize for not answering sooner. I think your video has been up a week or so, but I haven't had time to do a video response before now. Now, you made a video where you asked about if people had some thoughts about some strange things that have happened in the yard of your house. And yeah, I have some thoughts. Of course, since I have not been there and not seen it, all I can offer is guesses, really. Now, as for the hearing people walking in the yard, one thing I have to then ask is there any way to take a shortcut through your yard? Because in my mother's house, which used to be my grandparents' house, you sort of have the main street here. Well, it's not the main street, it's a side street. I come from a little town, but there's a side street with some shops and such that goes here, and then her house is here, and you have another street here, and it is much faster to just run through her yard because she doesn't have a fence than it is to walk all the way around to the other street. So it's not very rare that we hear people running through the yard. Of course, if there is no reason for people to walk through your yard, then that of course gets a lot stranger. Now, it's not unusual when you're dealing with spirits to hear walking or some sort of that type of sounds or repeated noises. My mother tells me that when her grandmother died, and she lived, this is the same house I'm talking about, the one that's the shortcut. Anyway, then my mom and her parents, they lived on the first floor, and her grandmother, my great-grandmother, lived on the second floor. But then when her grandmother died, they started hearing this heavy object falling to the ground, and falling to the floor, and then rolling over the floor. And it was really a thud. Roll, 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 roll. And so they walked upstairs, and there was nothing on the floor. And this happened for quite some time after her grandmother's death. And actually, when my mother got into guides and spirits, because she's in the alternative world too, she was described one of her guides, and that guide fit the description of her grandmother completely. And I remember that when I was a little girl, I used to bring home drawings and such from school to give to my great-grandmother, who lived on the second floor. And she was dead a long time before I was born. I never saw her, but I felt her presence. So it's fully possible that there is a spirit that walks in your yard. But unless you have felt some sort of ill intent, it is very unlikely that this spirit wants you any harm. What you can do is do a very simple ceremony where you put up a white candle and you ask the spirit, are there anyone here? If so, do you want to communicate with me? And offer the spirit to communicate with you through dreams, through tarot cards, through some sort of mean. And then see if it has anything to say. You can also try to send it to the other side. However, I very strongly feel that it is morally wrong what a lot of psychics do, which is forcing a spirit to leave. I think that is wrong, because I feel that the dead has just as much right to be here as we do. So, but a lot of spirits do want to live but can't. So what I would then do is light that candle and ask it, do you want to go into the light? And then perform a ceremony to open the way for it to pass, but without trying to force it. Now, as for the second part of your story, the altar in the backyard, I see that there are three possibilities here. One is somebody doing a prank. Now, there are a lot of people who think that such a thing, a practical prank to make people scratch their head, is funny. Like, I remember one, this was before Christmas, and we were driving home from store that sells furniture. And before us there was this car with a giant Christmas tree. And when that car stopped in front of us, I was so tempted to just stretch out of the car and put bow or a Christmas decoration, something on one of the branches of that tree, just to make the people wonder when they got home. I didn't do it, but yeah, that's my kind of humor. Anyway, that's one possibility, that somebody did it as a prank. A second possibility is that somebody actually put up an altar to do some ceremony. Have you checked if there is some sort of spiritual significance to the land your house is on, or if something significant have happened there? Because that is possible. Another possibility is that if your yard is full of trees and is a bit secluded, perhaps some pagans saw that that was the best way to stay hidden and have a ritual. If there's any reason why people would do that, that's also a possibility. A third possibility is that the altar was set up by something not human, something from the spirit world. Now this is probably the least probable option, because while spirits do have the ability to affect the physical world in such a way, you need to have a very powerful spirit who uses a lot of energy to do it, so it's pretty rare. I would say that a prank or some sort of ritual taking place that humans do is the most common. So yeah, without more information there's not really much more I could say. I would probably take a few dowsing rods into the yard, check the energy is there, but perhaps do a cleansing ritual just to be sure, just to make sure that there's no negative influence there. If somebody has been doing rituals in your yard, most likely it's a positive ritual, but you never know, and it's better safe than sorry. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I hope you have a great day, and blessed be.